Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the third Austrian in this afternoon. It is a great honor and pleasure for me to be with you here today, because for me personally, 1989 was the most significant year in my political life. I serve as an elected politician since 1986. And this year, 2014, is a special year. Most of the events we remembered in these years are very tragic, and commemorating these years. If you look 100 years to the start of the First World War, 75 years to the beginning of the Second World War, and Professor Kohl also mentioned Reichskristallnacht and these terrible pogroms against the Jewish people. But there's one date which is the opposite. And this date is 1989. For me, it's a year of wonder and a year of change. So it's good to have this conference, and it's very, very good what the German people are doing. I had the chance to see it yesterday evening. And we should not forget how important this year 1989 was. I had the chance to visit Berlin short after the fall of the wall, and I took a hammer to get a piece of the wall. And since that time, I changed very often my positions in my political life. But this small piece I have always with me on my table, on my desk, because it's a symbol for the greatest thing that we can have, and that's freedom. And for me, freedom is, for democracy, the most important thing, this personal freedom. And since that time, millions of people now know what personal freedom means. And I had the chance to see before 1989 how this world looked like. I have studied Russian language at school, and in 1978 I went to Moscow. I was there at the Lomonosov University to encourage my knowledge of English, and I met many people there in the Fonestichesky cabinet, where I tried to improve my knowledge of Russian language. And all these people were seeking for freedom, but they don't had this freedom. And also the Iron Curtain was very close to the area where I had entered the school. And if you compare the situation now, as it was before 1989, it's not possible to compare it. And as my name says, Lopatka, it's a Polish name. My father was born in Krakow, and until that time he had no chance to see his sister. And then it was in 1990. Then when my father met for the first time after a long time his sister, and this is only the story of thousands of families as they had seen it before. And for me, 1989 was also a special year, because in 1989, on the 20th of April, I was imprisoned in Romania by Securitate. They accused me. As an Austrian, I was there to celebrate the 100th birthday of Adolf Hitler. Of course, it was not true, but they didn't like it that I went very often to these countries. I have also studied theology beside law, and at that time we tried to support priests in these countries from Latvia. In 1999, I was in Latvia when this freedom movement was starting, and I had no chance to go back to Moscow, but a friend of mine who worked at our embassy there had the chance to go to Leningrad and to take me. So I have seen this because there was also a seminary, a Catholic seminary at the time of the Soviet Union in Riga, and I was there to meet there a cardinal. His name was Nux, and a younger bishop, Zakuls was his name, and they were full of this wish and desire to get the chance to live in a free society. And now in these days, we have this. So, what should we say after 25 years? You know, when Kissinger was in China in 1971, and the journalist asked the Chinese Prime Minister Zhou Enlai what he thought about the French Revolution. It was in 1789. His answer was, "It's too soon to say." So, what should we say after 25 years? I think it's not too soon to say. We can say it in a very clear way. The fall of the wall was the best thing what could happen to this generation. If looking to things happened after the fall of the wall, looking to the Arab Spring, yeah, I would be at the quote of Zhou Enlai. I would say it's too soon to say. So I think that the European Union used the chances after the fall of the wall, looking to 1995, to Schengen and to the Treaty of Schengen, and now living in the Schengen area. You know, once there was this border with minefields, barbed wire, armed guard towers, people who lost their life because they wanted to get in the other part of the world. In these days, these borders are open, and Europe is becoming more and more an area without borders. And of course, this achievement is a positive one, and I'm proud, beside all the critics we have about the European Union, that the European Union, after such a short time, is as strong as it is. As a political union, we started later, Maastricht, 1992. And after a short period, this European Union is strong enough to promote worldwide our values. And so, of course, we have also problems after 1989. Looking to Austria, we have 8.4 million inhabitants. More than 1.5 million inhabitants of the Austrians were not born in Austria or have foreign roots. It's not easy to integrate these people. And 2/3 of these people are coming from former so-called Eastern countries or the West Balkan countries. And for me, this opening of the border was the begin. We opened geographical borders on the one hand, but on the other hand, also at the same time, looking at our personal computers, they became increasingly used just by everyone, and this global use of internet. So also here, we opened borders we had before, and so borders don't have the meaning as they had before. And globalization, as we call this development in transportation, in communication, in technology, has accelerated in a way our life, and also has accelerated the international integration as it was not foreseen 50 or 40 years ago. So, what should we think about a world without borders? Are borders an anachronism, or do we need borders. I think on the first, I want to mention that looking to this development with 24-hour cable news organizations and to make it possible for everyone on every corner of this planet to receive news and information, we should be happy that we have this movement. But on the other hand, we should also see that everything has two sides. What I want to say is, in the 18th century, people began to switch their loyalty from a religion or to an emperor to this emerging national states. And this nationalism also brought, of course, a concept of individual freedom for the citizens, with all rights and responsibilities. We should not forget also the responsibilities. This is one side. But of course, the other side is also, and we have seen it, especially here in Germany, that nationalism also expressed bloody and brought bloody wars. So, national borders are not good or bad. National borders, of course, can be used to have a regime where people are not free, where people have no chance to travel. On the other hand, borders can also protect countries, that all our values, we try to protect them, and we are happy to have them, not to bring them in a situation then we can lose them. So borders also, for me, lost a lot of importance because of these new technologies, as I mentioned it, in an age of globalization, of borderless intranet, of many institutions working across the borders in a very positive way, looking at doctors without borders, only to mention one organization. It's positive, but on the same time, you can see that also bad ideals and bad actors have more chances. Looking to the barbarians of this so-called Islamic State. So what I want to mention, and not to be too long, is that I think that we still need borders, but we should do everything to increase the free flow of ideas, of cross-cultural understanding, of tolerance, and of course also of commerce. In these days, we are discussing in the Austrian Parliament this treaty with the United States, TTIP, and we are discussing a treaty with Canada, so-called CETA treaty. And of course, the people are afraid that huge international companies can reduce standards for the laborers working with these companies, and also can reduce standards from the high quality of our goods we have. And of course we have to protect this, but on the other hand, we have to do everything to increase this free trade of, as I mentioned, ideas and also of products. So I think, as I mentioned it, that borders, they don't make a difference when bad ideas are coming or good ideas are coming. We have to do everything, of course, to protect our values and to protect our personal freedom. But on the other hand, we must see that borders lost a lot of their importance they had before. And for me, the freedom to cross borders without any restriction is, of course, a freedom for good ideas, but also the freedom to do evil. So, in promoting a world without borders, at the same time, we must also protect the values. And both things are very important. And we must seek a world without borders, but at the same time, we must be aware that a world becoming more and more borderless must also be a world where we have to give on the international level and moving forward also on the national level, the state and international organizations a strong power and possibility to fight against intolerance, to fight against movements like this IS state represents. And I think what we should do is to work for a world of peaceful interaction, unhindered by repressive borders, but we have to do it in a way with both eyes very wide open, to fight at the same time against the enemies of an open and free society. I think that's one of the main issues we should have on our agenda. Moving forward in working for an open and free society, but be aware of the enemies of this open and free society. Thank you.